Hey, I've got a nice Harley over there. It's better than that for you.
Anything's better than this.
Okay. Oh yes, just right inside the door, there's a copy on the right hand side. So here we are in the blimp hangar, getting ready to go, do it all over the Genesis. This is our tour mascot right here. We have to get past him to security. He's a bit of a stiff.
Anatomically, almost correct, yes.
They will not be moved. We're getting them ready.
We have these ski lift lights here that travel, they have motion on those cables you see right there. And the jumbotron screen control.
Now you gotta run it on the end.
So we've got the, Phil is obviously using this grid part here. So during the show, I mean, you could come up as long as you stay to the outer edges of this wall. We've got this limit, this going on around here, so that's restricted because of the cameras for the jumbotrons.
So where can we go? Specifically down on that lower thing on the side of the corner.
Thing, if you try to keep to the outer edges of it.
Yes, that would work for us.
All right. We've got the spaces back there. You can see how it's pretty tight up here, especially with the movement and stuff. Probably around here would be okay, somewhere around here. Down here, this is fine. This area though is a work area for Phil. Okay. Yeah, you can get around, around this outside edge, around here.
Why don't we stay up where the teacher stopped?
Okay.
And then we'll head
Right
back
at
out.
that back. It's very tight in the back.
We'll go out when we come out.
Thanks, sir. Okay, thank you. We have got,
happening? Is the level okay?
Can't hear you.
All right, it's great then. like a baseball cap.
You know what? Forget that. Don't.
I must have dreamed 1,000 dreams. I've been haunted by a million screams, but I can hear the marching feet. They're moving into the street. Now did you read the news today? Well, they say the danger's gone our way, but I can see the fires still light. They're burning into the night. Well, there's too many men, there's too many people, making too many problems. But there's not much love to go around. Tell me why this is a land of confusion. Now this is the world we live in. These are the hands we give. Use them and let's start trying to make this a place worth living in. Ah, Superman, where are you now? Seems everything wrong's on somehow. With the men of steel and the men of power, they're losing control by the hour. This is the time, this is the place we will look for the future. There's not much love to go around. Tell me why this is a land of confusion. Now this is the world we live in. These are the hands we give them. Use them and let's start trying. Make this a place worth living in. Okay, but can you see me? So are the samples, were the samples in there? Okay, just checking. They weren't as loud as usual. It's probably good. I know, yeah. That's right, I must make sure that was. Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Don't you see?
Phil, please go with it.
Tony Smith? Tony Smith, can I have a word? But I can hear the marching feet. They're moving into the street. Now did you read the news today? Well, they say the danger's gone our way, but I can see the fires still alight. They're burning into the night. Well, there's too many men, there's too many people, making too many problems. But there's not much love to go around. Tell me why this is a land of confusion. Now this is the world we live in. These are the You never let's start trying to make this a place worth living in. Superman, where are you now? It seems everything's gone wrong somehow. Well, the men of steel and the men of power, they're losing control by the hour. This is the time, this is the place where we look for the future. But there's not much love to go around. Tell me why this is the land of confusion. Now this is the world we live in. These are the hands we give. Choose never, let's start trying to make this a place worth living in. I remember long ago is when the sun was shining and the stars are bright all through the night, and the sound of your laughter as I held you tight so long ago. I won't be coming home tonight, 'cause my generation will put it right. And we're not just making promises that you know we'll never keep. 'Cause there's too many men, there's too many people making too many problems. But there's not much love to go around. You tell me why this is the land of confusion. Now this is the world we live in. These are the hands we give them. You never let's start trying to make this a place worth living in. This is the world we live in, and these are the names we give them. Stand up and let's start showing just where our lives are going to. it started happening all the time. Soon I was living with the fear every day of what might happen that night. I couldn't stand to hear the cry of my mother, and I remember when I swore that would be the last they'd see of me, and I never went home again. But they say that time is a healer, and now my wounds are not the same. Well, I rang that bell with my heart on my mind. I had to hear what it said. He sat me down and talked to me. He looked me straight in the eye. He said, "You know, son of mine. You know, son of mine. When you walked out, you left us behind. And you know, son of mine." All these words I heard, I'll never forget. And as the time went by, I lived to regret. You know, son of mine. But where should I go? Tell me, what should I do? You know, son of mine. Na na na. I must have dreamed 1,000 dreams. I've been haunted by a million screams, but I can hear the marching feet. They're moving into the street. Now did you read the news today? Well, they say the danger's gone our way, but I can see the fires alight. They're burning into the night. Well, there's too many men, there's too many people, leaving too many problems. Don't you see? Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Don't you see?
Phil, who's got it?
Tony? Well, I must have dreamed 1,000 dreams. I've been haunted by 1,000,000 screams, but I can hear the marching feet. They're moving into the street. Now, did you read the news today? Well, they say the danger's gone our way, but I can see the fire's still alight. They're burning into the night. Well, there's too many men, there's too many people making too many problems. But there's not much love to go around. Tell me why this is a land of confusion. Now this is the world we live in. These are the hands we give them. You never let's start trying to make this a place worth living in. Ah, Superman, where are you now? It seems everything's gone wrong somehow. Well, the men of steel and the men of power, they're losing control by the hour. This is the time, this is the place where we look for the future. But there's not much love to go around. Tell me why this is the land of confusion. Now this is the world we live in. These are the hands we give them. Choose never let's start trying to make this a place worth living in. I remember long ago is when the sun was shining and the stars are bright all through the night, and the sound of your laughter as I held you tight so long ago. So long I won't be coming home tonight, 'cause my generation will put it right. And we're not just making promises that you know we'll never keep. 'Cause there's too many men, there's too many people making too many problems. But there's not much love to go around. You tell me why this is the land of confusion. someday I could call mine. I didn't think much about it till it started happening all the time. Soon I was living with the fear every day of what might happen that night. I couldn't stand to hear the cry of my mother, and I remember when soul. And now we've got to do those things that they thought before was so wrong. To be healthy and strong and live forever. There's always one more tomorrow. Living forever. Well, there's always one more tomorrow. Well, I know we don't need you. You know we don't believe you. You really have the answer. You think you know better. You think it really matters. You just want to rule over everybody's life. Well, I think I'll change my life today. Gone are the days of taking care. And I really don't need no reason why. 'Cause all I need is all in a day to survive in a way just till tomorrow. Well, there's always one more tomorrow. Living leaving my family behind me, not knowing what lay ahead, waving goodbye as I left them in tears, remembering all we'd said. I looked to the sky, I offered my prayers, I asked him for guidance and strength, but the simple beliefs of this simple man lay in his hands and on my head, my head. But still they wanted more. We sweat and we toiled, good men lost their lives. I don't think they knew what for. I sold them my heart, I sold them my soul, I gave everything I had. But they couldn't break my spirit, my dignity fall back, fall back. Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Don't you see? We worked in gangs for all we were worth. The young boys pulling the wagons. We were digging the tunnel, shifting the earth. It was then that it happened. No one knew how the crash could be, but I didn't know disappeared. Stone fell like rain. Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Can you breathe? The smoke cleared, the dust it settled. No one knew how many had died. All around there were broken men. They'd said it was safe, they'd lied. You could hear the cries, you could smell the fear, but good fortune that day was mine. And it occurred to me that the heart of a good man, it seems, is hard to find. Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Don't you see? There has to be a better life. Ah, but I can hear my children's cry. I can see the tears in their eyes. Memories of those I've left behind. Well, I'm feeling so confused today. It seems they changed the rules again. 'Cause in my life I'm trying hard to do it all so I can remain healthy and sane and live forever. But there's always one more tomorrow. Living forever. But there's always one more tomorrow. Well, I heard it on the radio. Too much of what they said wasn't so. And now we've got to do those things that they thought before was so wrong. To be healthy and strong and live forever. There's always one more tomorrow. Living forever. Well, there's always one more tomorrow. Well, I know we don't need you. You know we don't need you. You really have the answer. You think you know better. You think it really matters. You just want to rule over everybody's life. Well, I think I'll change my life today. Gone are the days of taking care. And I really don't need no reason why. 'Cause all I need is all in a day to survive in a way just till tomorrow. Well, there's always one more tomorrow. Living forever. Do you really want to live forever? remembering all we'd said. I looked to the sky, I offered my prayers, I asked him for guidance and strength. But the simple beliefs of this simple man lay in his hands and on my head, my head. But still he wanted more. We sweat and we toiled, good men lost their lives. I don't think they knew what for. I sold them my heart, I sold them my soul, I gave everything I had. But they couldn't break my spirit, my dignity fall back, fall back. Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Don't you see? We worked in gangs for all we were worth. The young boys pulling the wagons. We were digging the tunnel, shifting the earth. It was then that it happened. No one knew how the crash would be, but I didn't know this I knew. Stone fell like rain. Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Can you breathe? The smoke cleared, the dust it settled. No one knew how many had died. All around there were broken men. They'd said it was safe, they'd lied. You could hear the cries, you could smell the fear, but good fortune that day was mine. And it occurred to me that the heart of a good man, it seems, is hard to find. Can you hear me? Can you see? Don't you hear me? Don't you see?
good to just rehearsal first.
And then, you know, so you get the band on stage, and I'll cut to something else. When you're ready to go, I'll grab the sticks. Ready to go? You're on? Go ahead.
Hope they're playing when we get in there.
It's against the music, isn't it? It's not like the music stops.
No. Oh, so you talk over it, man?
I gather.
Okay.
We begin.
Yeah.
Shh, I'm talking now. I don't know if you remember, but I interviewed you for MTV just when the record came out, and at that time you were saying you weren't going to tour right away, you had different things to do, you wanted to make some films, you wanted to take some time off. How did you use that time? Like, did you have enough time to do what you needed to do?
I can't remember what we said.
Feeling monosyllabic, yeah.
You were gonna do nothing. You wanted to relax. You wanted to put time into like relaxing.
I think actually our ideas of great big blocks of time off between the album and the tour didn't really happen. I mean, we did a lot of promotion before Christmas, November, December time.
What did you do when I was working?
I did nothing.
You did nothing. You did nothing for 2 months.
And it went. Yeah, but it wasn't like that.
It was 2 months.
When you have 2 months of time, it goes a lot quicker than if you're doing 2 months of working, you know, because it just gets used up, I suppose.
They made me do my film so they could have 2 months off.
So the Three Bears is complete?
No. This is another film.
The Australian.
This is the Australian film, yeah, which is called Frauds. It's called Frauds, and it's going to be coming out. I guess it'll be finished. I'm finishing it next week. My part of it, a dubbing part of it, but the Three Bears will be happening next year.
When did you start? Did you practice in England or here before you came down to do the staging? How does your preparation for this work?
Well, we did 3 weeks of music rehearsals back in England, really. So by the time we came here, we were pretty much there. Because the idea, we knew that this time was going to be mainly taken up with worrying about sort of what visuals, which are quite extensive on this tour, what they would do.
I'm sorry.
And
by the time we came here, we were pretty much there. I like that.
No.
Okay.
The staging that we've seen, how much of that is, I mean, did you know what you want, you specified, or do you like hire people to come up with ideas for you? How does that work?
Well, we got involved last year with Mark Brickman, does a lot of designing and stuff, and we sat down and spoke with him about the kind of things we had in mind, how we wanted the show to look very different to what we've done before, and not basic very lights. It's as much as before. It's going to be just a stadium tour, so we're actually able for the first time to design a show that works just in stadiums. Hasn't got to then go into arenas, which has always been our problem before. And we brought in these jumbotron screens, which haven't been used in this way before, on which we're showing some live footage of us playing, obviously, and we shot footage and animation and stuff which goes with the songs. So it's given the whole thing a very different feel, I think.
So I understand you purchased those jumbotrons?
Sort of, yeah. We're hoping very much that we've sort of got
sell
someone
them.
to sell them on to. Otherwise, you know, the tour may have to be extended indefinitely.
There's three of them, yeah, one each, I suppose.
They are incredibly expensive, those things. I don't know if you've ever tried to buy one yourself, have you? I'd rather advise anybody watching perhaps not to buy a jumbotron, actually.
Did you have I know U2 has got their Zoo TV thing going on. Did they come out, did you already know you were going to do the big TV screen when they did that, or did you see their show and like it, or is there...
We haven't seen their show. I mean, we planned this last sort of September, wasn't it? Late summertime we were talking about it. The idea of using the screens and going a little bit away from the lights, using the lights differently. So I don't know what they were planning then.
When you're performing, how aware of you how aware of the staging are you?
Well, very aware. In terms of what we are appearing like, you mean? Or...
In like what you're doing, I mean, are you singing the song and basically with your instrument, or I mean, do you see the audience reacting to the stuff that you know is going on behind you, or do you forget about it all while you're playing? How does that work?
Well, I think you forget about the screens as much as possible. I mean, obviously in terms of being on the screens, but I mean, for the first few gigs, we'll all be worried about what's going on the screens, if actually what's going on the screens is supposed to be.
That's it. I mean, we've been so involved in what is going on those screens that we know every cue backwards, you know. So if a cue doesn't happen up there, we'll be conscious of it. But it is quite important when you're playing to try and not worry about it, because it's such a distraction. And quite honestly, the music, you know, it's quite a difficult show in terms of technically to play. Got enough to think about with that, really. And so you should get to the stage where all you're thinking about is your own job.
When you stage something elaborately or largely, are you like looking to see if the audience is responding to certain things? Are there like staging cues that you hope produce a result and they do or they don't, or you're aware of them or not? Is that...
We tend to, well, it's thus far, let's say, on our career, we've had a pretty good idea when things are going to have the effect we want, you know. But we have said before that sometimes when things haven't worked, effects haven't worked and things, you get the cheer at the same point. You know, and we've tried to work out what it is, you know, whether it's because some of the crowd who came some other night saw it and knew there was a cheer at that point as they cheered again, or whether it's just something in the music, you know, because we always tried to match high points with the visuals with high points in the music. That's always kind of how we work. So the two do go together.
How'd you select this place to do what you're doing?
Well, I mean, we had trouble trying to find anywhere that was indoors that was tall enough to take the rig, because it's very tall and very long. And there aren't many places that are tall and long, and you know, undercover. So we're going to be moving out of here soon to a stadium, Texas Stadium, and carrying on rehearsals there.
Do you know where the blimp is?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's gone to Idaho, didn't you say?
Akron, Ohio, I think.
Close.
I think it's gone to Ohio.
Yes, I think you're right. I think you're right. No, Ohio.
Ohio, yeah. It's
Ohio.
Ohio. I heard it in the steam room the other day. Word was out. So where y'all playing? Well, we're at the blimp hangar. Oh, I got it in Ohio now. Terrible accent.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
I'd like to
You can edit that bit out.
talk about set list. Not so much what your set list is, but I mean how you pick your set list, how important it is to get a set list coordinated. I mean, I would think with staging a set list is a lot more than deciding what songs you're going to play when. How did, just from the beginning, how and when do you decide what you want to perform?
We tend to start really with the new album. We played most of it and dropped a couple of songs, I think. You want to play all the new stuff you can. I mean, the whole reason really for going on tour, I think, for us is just to play some new music to the fans out there. So we start with that, and then before you start, you kind of, you know, you remember back to the end of the tour before, the Invisible Touch tour. You know, towards the end of that, one or two songs are starting to get due for sort of semi-retirement, put out the pasture. Things like Abacab, and you kind of know that, so automatically you've got to sort of phasing out some of the older songs. And then you kind of just juggle a bit. It becomes obvious because you've got a lot of these kind of songs, and you need one of those kind of songs, you know. and it takes shape.
Didn't really
It still
think
is.
visually, did we? I mean,
No.
Not at
you
all
think
visually.
Work out the
musically,
musical set first of all, you know.
and then work out how to enhance that visually.
I kind of feel sorry because the other day there was a song we worked on. The lighting guys worked on all night until about 6 in the morning, and on this one song we came in without even knowing that they'd done that and said we'd drop that song. We decided that day. Do you remember that? I kind of felt sorry for them.
Still dropped it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a hard man, Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
When you talk about needing a type of song, how do you at all, if you could explain basically, how you look to pace a set list, or what the idea is, why you need a certain type of song or a certain feeling song at all to make a show work?
Well, you know that certain kind of songs work well live. You know, with Genesis, we found that the slightly longer songs have always been easier to get across visually. You can do more with them, and you can draw an audience in more. You know, and so I think they become sort of linchpins of the set, really. And so you pace them throughout the set, and then you kind of find the songs to contrast with them. You've got certain things work well live, from the last tour, you can bring them back, and certain kind of songs you're pretty confident will work well off the new album. Then you have one or two songs that you want to play, but maybe the audience is not quite so ready for, so you shelter them slightly, And,
Psychological warfare.
Yeah, it is a bit, really. You've got to work the whole thing out so that when you do something that you feel for one part of the audience is going to perhaps find a little less interesting, you try and come back with something they will find more interesting. And we're doing sort of we are doing old stuff in this set, some new old songs, if you know what I mean, not the ones we did in the last tour, about 20 minutes of that. And, for some people that will be the high point of the set, and for other people that will be a low point, so you've got to make certain that you come back, with the right sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'd like to talk a little more, like why not just play your songs in alphabetical order?
Because the thing is basically we've always spent a lot of time on the pacing, and it makes so much difference. We played sets and you change a couple of songs around, and the pacing comes right, and the show gets a lot better. I'm amazed occasionally you watch bands who just sort of do 10 loud songs and then 10 soft songs. They kind of don't really think about it. It's a pity because it can affect how good the show comes across, I think, a lot.
Do you historically change your sets once you've been out for a while? You decide that maybe something else would work better than what you're doing?
Well, you get. It's very hard when you get an order with so many songs, like a 2.5-hour show. When you get so many songs that work in a certain way, there aren't that many alternatives. Yes, in theory, we've had songs that we'd take one song out and replace it with another one on different nights. That can happen. But you tend to sort of, especially now with visuals being tied in so much, it's not a long tour, so it's not like we're going to get fed up with the songs. Probably by the time we end the tour, we'll just be getting it right.
Yeah, but if we find we've made a miscalculation, then yes, we can change. We have in the past. When we dropped that last bit of Supper's Ready and changed it to Afterglow and things. Certain things you do, and I think that we're certainly open to doing that. You're not that rigid that if it's not working, we're not going to.
If it's not working, you change it. Yeah. Quickly.
Do you find by the end of the tour that your musicianship has changed? I remember doing an interview with the Rolling Stones. They're talking about that 6 months into the tour, they said they should have recorded the album then, because now all of a sudden they're playing really well. Not that you're not.
No, it's true. You get into, especially me. I only play the drums every now and again on stage. So by the time I'm getting to the point now where I'm starting to get better now. Because usually I'm more thinking about the singing side of it than the drumming side of it. So, because there's a lot more singing than drumming for me. But you do get better, definitely, as the tour goes on. I think maybe with the 10-month tour we did Invisible Touch, there's probably, I can't think, in real terms, whether we got better or worse, but we certainly, kept on playing, didn't we?
Yeah, I think some things do get better. I think you can notice it more with some of the earlier songs, the very early songs, that we did when the song In the Cage, which became quite a popular live song for us, which was really a rather nondescript song on the album. I don't think there was anything special about it. And I think that's, those sort of things happen. But with most of these, I think I see less difference between the live versions of Invisible Touch, say, and the Invisible Touch songs. I thought Throwing It All Away got better live, one or two songs do. But
Is there anything about summer that you like? For kids who are out of school, summer concerts, it's a whole different experience. Is it that way for you? Does it matter?
Well, you must remember we live in England. We don't see very much sun there, so it does have an effect actually. I think everyone's a little bit more relaxed on a summer tour. You have a couple of hours off in the morning, you can just get a little bit of sunshine, and it's different, on a sort of cold, snowy day in Detroit. You You're kind of stuck in the hotel. It does affect the whole atmosphere of the crew, the band, everyone around, and the audience too. And obviously you couldn't do that. They come outdoor shows in the winter. It always feels a bit more relaxed to me, a summer tour.
We've always had a bit of a strange relationship with outdoor shows, actually, Genesis. As soon as you mention Genesis and a summer tour, it rains. So we're hoping that it's not going to happen this time.
So take you through the farm belt and then just alleviate any drought.
Yes.
Do you? I mean, I would think also like for like days off. I don't know what you're doing, like 2 days on, 1 day off or stuff. Do you find it's more fun to run around in the summer? Do you run around? I mean, what do you sleep?
Well, our manager's been very clever actually, because we said we wanted to do a slightly shorter tour this time. So we're doing almost as many dates in the same time period. So there aren't many days off. It's about 60 shows in 90 days. So you're talking about only 1 day off at a time, and it's normally a travel day.
Are you fitting any video shoots in on this? And like, what is your next video?
Well, we're doing one in Dallas for Jesus He Knows Me, because we want to. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be a single or not, but we actually always felt that it was tailor-made for a very funny video. The three of us dressing up as very dodgy TV evangelists, which will be very entertaining. I mean, whether it ends up as a single or whether it ends up as a video compilation thing. I mean, with a song like Land of Confusion, which wasn't really taken necessarily that seriously as a single, when the video was done and presented as a complete thing, the thing took off. I mean, it's our only Grammy that we've ever won as Genesis, so it's ironic really. So I think, we're making it because we want to make it. The next single, well, the current single is Hold on My Heart, which we made the video for a while ago. We did that at the same time as I Can't Dance, in fact. I don't know what the next one's going to be apart from
We don't
that.
know really. I mean, we're waiting to see a bit what happens,
yeah.
but
Do you know, like, when the tour is over, are you just taking time away from the band?
Well, basically, when the tour finishes, it's sort of, the way we do Genesis, you do an album and you do some touring. That we'll sort of.
There'll probably be a video or something, a video or a live album.
Well, we're thinking about live album quite seriously
possibly.
this time. We haven't done a live album since Three Sides Live, which is nearly what? I don't know, 8, 9 years ago, isn't it? It's a long time
40,
ago, so it would be
50
nice to do that. There might be, there's lots of songs we're doing now that we haven't, that haven't been on a live album before. Plus, obviously, 1 or 2 songs we might take from previous tours that have never appeared on live albums as well. So
visually,
be nice
it could be interesting as well. The tour, so visually, it may be a video as well. I don't know. It's a bit early to think about that yet, but we will be doing something. And then
I'm sure we're going to film it for something at some stage. I mean, it looks very strong at the moment, I think.
Well, there should be some stunning moments.
Well, we can probably film it and then show it back on the jumbotrons that we won't be able to sell.
Yes, we can watch it at home in our personal jumbotron. In our bankruptcy.
When you commission something like this, I don't know whether you look at drawings or have conversations. When you first got here and like stepped out on it, I mean, what is that like? How is it? Was it
big?
It's quite scary actually. I mean, I walked in and I couldn't believe the amount of scaffolding. It was at scaffolding for days, But it feels smaller the more you get used to it.
We'll put it indoors and it looks bigger, obviously. It's designed for outdoors. We had, because we got 3 stages actually we have to build because of the way it leapfrogs and everything. And we had the second stage was built outside, and that looked a lot more sensible. You understood why it was the shape and size it was. So yeah, I mean, the main problem you have when you first come is to try and get everything working how you want it to. Because when you first come, it may sort of roughly look right, but then you find that nothing kind of works the way you thought it was going to. So we have to sort of, we had to get a different computer system for the screens and everything. I mean, it just takes time to get all of it right.
There's one thing actually.
We will be there by the first show.
Yes, we will. In Domino, there's an idea we had because of the visuals that are going to be on the screens of putting me up in front of the screens, and I just thought it was going to be a little ladder, There's about 6-foot ladder or something, and it's about 15, 20 foot maybe. So I've got to get like a lift, a scissor lift to take me up there. Things like that, which you just sort of think I'll just climb up, like you used to in the cage and jump down. No,
it's funny because it's weird. It's big, but in being big, it's actually designed to actually focus more on the band. I mean, when you go and see bands at these outdoor gigs, they've got these big screens either side. You don't know whether to look at them or the stage. And there's an awful lot going on. The whole thing is focused much more centrally around the group, so it becomes more one thing. So although it's big, I think you actually get a feeling you're seeing the band more than you would normally.
It's a very clean look.
Yeah.
Just standing in front
of it. It's kind of minimal look in a way, isn't it? Minimalistic sort of look.
Yeah. Especially when the scrim's down. I mean, obviously you can see a lot more scaffolding than you will be able to.
What are the mannequins for?
So when we're doing lighting cues, we just
personal relaxation.
So we enjoy ourselves. No. When we're doing lighting cues, we stick mannequins up there to take our place.
Families aren't.
We
here
all
at
rather
the moment.
fancy Daryl's one, don't we? Actually,
The big hit
large,
one.
yes, large hips. But no, it's useful because when you're doing the lighting cues, particularly with the jumbotrons, when you're doing live switch in particular, the whole stage takes on the colour. I mean, screens take on the colour of the stage, obviously enough, and it affects the lighting cue to such an extent because you've got the screens behind the group that you really can't judge any lighting cue without it if it's going to have live switch on it. Having said that, about 50% of the show, will have things additional to live switch. I mean, there's quite a lot of other stuff going on, which is perhaps where the most exciting stuff happens.
So that's what the mannequins
That's
are
the
for.
stuff. The mannequins.
That's
No,
what-
no,
that's
I
what
was just
it's
taking it on.
Oh, you're moving on. Okay.
Moving on, yeah.
This the video installation is pretty. The control section is
Yeah.
about a basic.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you got. It's
terrifying,
not a
isn't it?
cast of thousands, but it's actually there's more people to talk to and to get a decision through to. So it's kind of that can take some time. I mean, there are about 4 lighting operators, and there's it is a little video studio.
It's as large as our control room.
It's been hard for us because we don't tend to ever just sort of. Some bands come along and have a chat with the lighting guy, and then just off he goes, does his thing, and the video switch guys do their thing, and we kind of tend to get very involved. So that the final thing you see is something we're happy with, and we have a lot of input into it too. So it's been quite hard the last few weeks, but I think it makes for a better show.
And we've always thought very visually, right from when we first started playing live. I mean, I think we're one of the first groups to think in visual terms, and that's, the old first live album we ever did with just the sort of, when we just put this scrim at the back and shined UV light on it, was a very sort of, very strong effect, and I think that was a sort of something that people hadn't seen before. And ever since then, we've always taken a great deal of care about the way it looks.
So as a band, you've really got a very deep audience. There's people who come out to see you, who've been seeing you for a very long time. Is what you're saying, is that an expectation that you're playing to? Or what am I asking? Do you think people are coming with visual expectations?
I think they always do when they do Genesis, because as Tony said, we've been doing it for such a long time. They always know, which is probably why, fingers crossed, in such a financial climate that we live in the recession, that people are buying our tickets because they kind of trust us. I think there's not they know they're going to see something. They know there's going to be a couple of hours at least of music, so they're going to get more value for money from that point of view. But also they're going to see something that, something they haven't seen before maybe, and also they're going to get a complete show as opposed to something that's just thrown together. And a lot of bands don't do that. But there are some that do, and I think people don't want to get burnt. They've got so much money to pay for tickets and records, so they're going to spend it wisely.
We need to change tape.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what's about. Yes.
Is it jam? No, it's all working fine.
It's marvellous. It's communication.
It was actually. That's what we actually they telling us that. I got set up a room service and food here. I thought, gotta get out. I went there, no one there, the rest of us empty. It's just the 3 of us.
Both cameras rolling.
Still better though, wasn't it?
I was better, yeah.
Okay, I need to.
Who's the third?
Sorry, we're back.
Yeah.
Back with you now.
Mel,
Your manager. Yeah.
I need to re-ask a question, which is the first thing I wanted to know. I would like to know what you've done with all your time off since you put the album out.
Well, I made a film. in Australia, January and February, which will be coming out next February. What did you do, Mike?
I didn't do very much. I took January, February off. I was recovering from the Mechanics album, going straight into the Genesis one. So I haven't had a sort of gap, and I had 2 months off that went just like that.
Well, I was doing certain things involved with this solo album I got. It's out actually.
Oh yes, we haven't talked about that, have we?
Still available on Giant Records. Number, I can't remember what it is actually. Which I was doing a little bit more in England on it and preparing for what was going to happen out here really. Which is, but to be honest, that didn't take up all my time. Doing the usual things, a lot of gardening, golf,
Do you guys do any, is there a getting in shape period before you come out on the road, or do you not concern yourself?
Try to. Yeah, try to. I've got a gym at home, and I try to do my little bit. Especially with you being in these 30-foot by 20-foot screens, one doesn't want to look like the Goodyear blimp. So one tries to do your bit to try and
vanity.
look. Well, have your photograph taken and put in the paper every day. You want to sort of try and look as nice, as good as you can. So.
Having toured so many times, really, do you know before you go out what the pros and cons of a tour are going to be? Do you know how to prepare and what to pack, and is it harder physically or mentally? What are you looking forward to and not looking forward to?
I think we're still searching for the perfect way to pack. I was actually down at the luggage shop today trying to work out whether to buy a case with a double compartment or and these are the big decisions in your day, you know, where am I going to put the shoes and
Can't decide actually about
he's a very good packer.
I'm a very good packer. Things come out the
He
way
is
they
a
go.
terrible packer.
He puts the tissue paper back in his t-shirts, right? Folds them neatly and puts them in his trunk.
Well, that way they
He
come
unpack
out
every night.
Yes, they come out the way they go in. That's the thing.
I'm probably the
Otherwise, you
exact
end up
opposite,
wearing-
you know.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell, but
There is an art to it, but I think we're still striving to get there.
yes, there's more to it than packing, though. I can't what your question was now, but doesn't matter.
Well,
there's more to touring than packing, though. I have to say that. It's a very important thing. But
Besides packing and
I'm
playing.
afraid you're wrong there.
other things you look forward to. Well, I obviously don't look forward to the flying, which is something I say every time, which is a factor. I think one looks. I don't know. It's just that what I like about it is playing music that one's written in the sort of confines of a sort of room to an audience and see how audiences respond direct. I think it's a very important thing as a writer. You know, if you're just releasing recorded music, you never quite know what it is that people like and don't like about you. And although you make no conscious decisions from what the effects these have, I think it subconsciously affects the way you behave, and you see audiences responding to something. You know, and it increases your confidence in that area.
So, do you hate turbulence? Is that what
I hate turbulence. I hate turbulence. I hate steady flying.
any kind of flying.
Any kind of flying, really. No, I don't like it when it sort of moves around much. You know, I like a plane that just sort of takes off very slowly.
Stays there.
Goes there. I'd like it to. Preferably, I'd like it to stay about 20 feet off the ground, if that was safe, and not do anything very much. You know. So I feel like any time I could just jump out, and I'd be okay. But you know,
a very slow-moving tour.
are you ever like close enough from a city to another city that you bus it, or?
I often car it. Actually, and I train it sometimes.
The buses are
particularly in
so
Europe.
unreliable. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they never come along when they're supposed to.
It is difficult though in a group.
What do you mean a coach? Sorry, I understand.
And if we all didn't like it, then you could construct a tour which you did surface without any problem at all. But obviously, since it's only me, you know, I have to kind of like just grin and bear it.
I think the more you go on a plane, God, I mean, you only need something like the Eric Clapton helicopter crash on Bill Graham's helicopter crash. I haven't been in. I've been in one the other day because I had to go somewhere that just really would have been 3 hours driving, and I just didn't have the time. So I went in one, and I said to myself I would never go in another one after that. Those two incidents.
The one with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Clapton's guy. I don't know if you've ever played Alpine Meadow. I mean, it's flat. It's practically. They say there's a mountain. It's it's a 30-foot high hill. That was and everyone flies in there. You fly in there when you play there. We had just shot there. I had shot there a couple weeks before. That was.
When that happens, you do feel very vulnerable, you know, and so even though I don't mind flying, every time you go up in a plane, you sort of think, well, this is another one you can chalk off, and you just don't know. So, you know, it's
okay.
Driving a car is probably marginally safer.
Have you all been paying any attention to the presidential process, the election process here? Do you have any take on what's going on?
They did a bit more when we were back in England, actually. Since I've been out here, I haven't really sort of seen any news at all, you know. But I think in England it was quite reasonably big news for a while, and then we had our own election, you know, and that kind of took over, really. Everyone got a bit bored of, because it goes on for so long in America, you think, you know, it's still going to be there when you come back, you know. we just take a month over it and sort of everyone gets very excited, and then it's back to the American one, which is still going, you know.
They sort of start doing it after they've just got the guy elected.
Yes, right.
We have a sort of a 16 magazine question here. I don't know what it's for, but the question is, what is the biggest lie you've ever heard about yourself?
Biggest lie you've ever heard about yourself? That I was short.
Well, I have no answer to that.
There's so many.
Tony Mandich?
What about us? Poor old Tony. Well, Tony, he works for a record company. Until this story gets aired, he'll be working for the record company in Los Angeles. And we had the one instance. When San Francisco was never very good for us. It's okay now, but it never used to be particularly good for us. Musically, we weren't compatible, I don't think, with what was going on in that particular city. But so we asked one day whether our Winterland shows had gone on sale yet, and he said, "Oh yes, it's sold out. It's fabulous. 2 shows." And then I went back to our manager and I said, "That's good news about Winterland, isn't it? It's selling out this time." And he said, "What?" And I said, "It's sold out." He said, "No, they haven't gone on sale yet." So that kind of
You always get a few of those.
Tony,
actually.
we love you, babe.
Okay.
He doesn't do that anymore.
I'm pretty much done. Do you have any...
I'm going to drag it out for our sake.
No, we've got all this time. Completely off, and we are done, but just only because it happened. Did you see? Are you up on the Rodney King case and the verdict? That
Saw
came down?
it last night.
Any I just asked what your reaction was.
I'm not that surprised. I'm not that surprised at the reaction to the.
I can't believe
to that result. I mean, it's been in the pipeline, hasn't it? Something like this would happen if it's going to get that kind of result. I feel it was very badly handled, to be honest. The way they tried it in that particular courthouse.
The only way they can get out of it, I think, is if they go for a retrial and take it to a higher court.
Trouble is that one is always speaking from what is we only know a fraction of the knowledge. One's making all these judgments and things. One has no real idea what's going on. Presumably the jury made their decision based on something. I have no idea. It can't have been based on pure prejudice. If it was, then obviously it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's that
who knows?
where the case was held, where the hearing was held, and the guy was at a police record, but it's a blatant piece of some guy being beaten up by about 7 or 8 policemen, and even if they said he was innocent, it just should have been handled better, because it's just a time bomb.
Yeah, it just seems like there's something's missing here. Whether it was justified or not, everyone's wondering, well, how come 7 people can beat on someone like that and no one is found guilty of anything? I'm done. Could we do a Week in Rock introduction?
Sure.
We're Genesis and you're watching.
We Can't Rock. Yeah.
We Can't Rock.
We can't dance, but we can't rock.
Into the camera when you're ready.
So what are we doing?
So
hello.
You got a 3-piece, yeah? I mean,
You go.
you're watching the Week in Rock.
Yeah, get cozy, guys.
We are cozy.
I don't need to do it. I'm just saying we're going to do it together.
you're the actor.
Okay, I'll do the act,
I'll start. Well, you start, Tony.
Oh, I see one of these. Okay.
and I'll do last.
You ready for us? Hello, I'm Tony Banks.
And I'm Mike Rutherford.
I'm Phil Collins. We are Genesis, and you're watching the Week in Rock.
Thank you very much.
What's the Week in Rock? I thought it was the Week and Rock. You see,
No,
that's
no.
why I said we can't.
I
rock,
know.
you
I
see.
understand why you said that.
Ah, right.
That's
Well, why don't you do a We Can't Rock now?
You can do that.
No. I'll be scriptwriter, but not actor. Hello, I'm Tony Banks.
And I'm Mike Rutherford.
I'm Phil Collins, and We Can't Rock either on MTV.
Thank you.
I feel that's going to be in the archives.
Okay, you guys know there's another camera here.
Well, we said look at the camera, so we looked.
That's perfectly fine. It's perfectly
What is
fine.
that? Is that again?
That's a camera.
It's like the ones I've got on my